Hello.
Bienvenido. Konnichiwa. Добрый день.
Are you tired of the lackluster performance of your TV speakers? Or perhaps you want more from your wimpy soundbar? Maybe you have some nice bookshelf or tower speakers. You listen to CDs. Bruh, who listens to CDs anymore?
Just follow the script here, pal.
Maybe you have some nice bookshelf or tower speakers you have lying around that you listen to CDs or stream music on and thought, gee willikers, bruh.
Again, just follow the...
And you thought, gee willikers, I wish I could use these speakers with my TV instead of my dinky soundbar. Don't fret. Don't fret, my friends. Introducing the Prime Wireless Pro SoundBase from SVS Sound. Smart wireless integrated amplifier brings speakers into the future of immersive sound with effortless power, stunning dynamics, and pristine clarity. Vast array of connectivity choices and a user-friendly control interface. This little baby streams up to 192 kilohertz 24-bit high-resolution audio wirelessly via the DTS Play-Fi app while delivering 150 watts per channel, enough to drive any speakers to sound their best. It features
Wi-Fi.
I know, that's just how I like to say it. Wi-Fi, Apple AirPlay 2 for iPhones and iOS, Chromecast for Android phones and other devices, Spotify Connect, and Bluetooth 5.0 with aptics/AAC for optimal sound quality.
Hooray.
Wow.
Look at all these connections on the back. RCA inputs for your CD player or gaming console, or auxiliary line in to connect your PC. Do you have a subwoofer lying around wishing it was being used?
Boy howdy.
There is also a subwoofer out for superior bass extension. Oh, did you know SVS also sells premium RCA subwoofer cables? Look at that. Here we have line level RCA outputs to connect to an AV receiver to create a smart wireless audio zone.
So smart.
There's an optical input to connect your old as TV.
Again.
Optical input to connect your older TV without HDMI. Oh, but
Speak of the devil.
here's an HDMI port which supports eARC.
That's dope AF.
If you were wondering, yes, SVS also sells ultra high-speed 8K HDMI cables.
Holy cow.
This USB port is for firmware updates but can also be used for charging USB devices.
That's versatility, son.
Ethernet in and out for a more reliable wired internet connection.
Wired is most desired.
But don't forget about these puppies. Quality 5-way binding posts to connect your speakers of choice via spades, banana plugs, or bare wire. Hey bookshelf speakers, I can use you again. Whether you want to create a multi-room or whole home audio system with DTS Play-Fi or a killer 2.1 system for your PC or TV, look no further than the Prime Wireless Pro SoundBase from SVS. Finally, wireless meets the sound revolution. What are you waiting for? Get yours today. Wow. Thanks for reluctantly participating in that, buddy. Although there are some more features that I want to address before moving on. Even though it can be natively controlled via Apple AirPlay 2, Spotify Connect, Google Chromecast, or the DTS Play-Fi app, it does also come with an IR remote. For some good old-fashioned button mashing for those of you who prefer that. Nothing too fancy, just some input selections, volume controls, play, pause, mute, LED adjustments, and 6 preset buttons for one-touch access to music services and playlists, etc. FYI though, the same 6 preset buttons are also located on the front of the unit itself. And speaking of the front, it also has a headphone jack for some private listening sessions. This can also be controlled with your voice, although the SoundBase itself does not have a microphone built in it, so the only way to take advantage of this is by also having an Amazon Alexa device like an Echo, a Google Assistant device like Google Home Mini or Nest Mini as it's called now, or Apple Siri device like a HomePod Mini. So that's cool if you're into Big Brother always watching. One thing this SoundBase does not have is a phono preamp. You can still connect a turntable to it via the RCA inputs, but the turntable itself would need to be equipped with its own phono preamp or have an external phono preamp in the signal chain somewhere. A little disappointing since both the SoundBase and the Prime Wireless Pro powered speakers lack a phono preamp, whereas competitors like the 5s from Klipsch or ELAC Connects both feature an internal phono preamp for those of you wanting to listen to your vinyl collection. But it's not a deal breaker for a lot of you out there, I imagine. Another aspect to take note of is the fact that this is meant to power a 2.0 or 2.1 channel system, but it does not support surround sound codecs like Dolby Surround, meaning before you're ready to watch or listen to anything from your TV via HDMI or optical, make sure your TV's audio output is set to PCM. If you have it set to pass-through or auto, you're going to be startled by a loud rapid-fire noise that is very unsettling once you begin watching a movie or TV show. So please make sure to first switch your TV to PCM audio right after getting things connected and powered on. You've been warned. Another thing to point out is that in order to actually listen to high-res music via Wi-Fi, you need to enable critical listening mode in the DTS Play-Fi app. When you first start the Play-Fi app, before even selecting the SoundBase, tap the high-res toggle button in the top bar of the Zone module. The high-res logo will turn gold, critical listening mode will now display, and the list will now only display products that are compatible with this mode. So, now you might be wondering, how do they sound? Since the SoundBase can output up to 150 watts per channel, I busted out the Aperion Audio Verus 3 V5B bookshelf speakers since their recommended power is 100 to 200 watts. Perfect. Right in the pocket. And I'm also testing out the SB4000 subwoofer from SVS, so once I listened to the bookshelf speakers alone, of course, I also connected that bad boy to create a killer 2.1 system. I watched some Row 1 through my AppleTV 4K in order to test out streaming content, as well as watched a few select scenes from movies through my 4K Blu-ray player. I don't think you'll be surprised when I say it sounded great, since I really like the sound that comes out of the V5Bs in general. The Class D amplifier inside the SoundBase is very efficient and easily handles nice bookshelf speakers. If you have some tower speakers with a recommended power rating of up to 150 watts or thereabouts, they can also sound very nice. It is largely dependent upon the speakers you choose to connect to the SoundBase, but in my case, the stereo imaging was superb. With dialogue coming out precisely in the center, dialogue was also intelligible, and there was some good body to the sound. And when the subwoofer was connected, it rounded out that cinematic feel, giving me the low lows that I prefer when watching TV or movies. What's nice about the SB4000, and most SVS subs for that matter, is that it has its own onboard DSP featuring a 3-band parametric EQ to dial in frequencies if I need to. But since this is a stereo integrated amplifier, there's nothing in the SoundBase itself for bass management. So I know not all subwoofers have an onboard parametric EQ. So adding in a subwoofer into the mix will take some tweaking in order to complement your system just right for movies and music. I had it set to LFE first, which typically has a crossover of about 120 Hz, but I found that to be a bit jarring. If there was a deep male voice, I could hear the bottom end of his voice coming through the sub, even footsteps or low frequency ambient noises too. I personally don't like that since I want those sounds only coming out of the main speakers. So instead of LFE, I turned on the low pass filter of the subwoofer and set the crossover to the THX recommended 80 Hz. That ended up being much better for me personally since that caused only the low rumblings to come out of the sub. I could no longer hear muffled dialogue out of the sub, so that was a huge plus. If you really wanted to, you could introduce an external bass management device like the 2x4 HD from Mini DSP to help dial in your subwoofer, or even multiple if your subwoofer allows for daisy chaining. One feature I wish the SoundBase had was home theater bypass mode. In my full home theater system, I currently have a Peachtree amp powering my front, left, and right Theatrus T80s because those monsters can handle lots of power and the Peachtree can deliver that power. The Peachtree is an integrated amplifier, but putting it in home theater bypass mode allows me to control the volume of my entire system through my IOTA AVX17 instead of having to independently adjust the volume straight from the amp. That would be annoying. Because think about it. If you're starting your home theater journey with the Prime Wireless Pro SoundBase, powering a 2.1 system with speakers and a sub of your choice, you can easily transition those speakers to be a part of a complete surround sound system down the road. Sure, you would need to upgrade to a receiver, but if you end up expanding to a 7.2.4 system with something like the Denon X3800H or Onkyo RZ50, those require a 2-channel external amp to power a system that large. Oh, but looky here, you already have a 2-channel amp in the SoundBase that could easily power your front and left right speakers. Oh yeah! Since the SoundBase does have line level RCA inputs, you could technically do that already. But as I said a minute ago, you would have to independently adjust the volume of the SoundBase in addition to the rest of the speakers connected to your receiver. No thanks. I know soundbars are still the rage right now given how easy they are to connect and operate even for the general consumer who is brand new to home theater. But my biggest complaint about soundbar systems or powered stereo speaker systems is that they are one and done. The Fives, the Connects, or soundbar systems aren't modular in any way. So they're limiting that product to a small niche of consumers. Everything isn't built to last anymore. It's built to last long enough until you decide to upgrade to something bigger and better, tossing that older thing in the garbage. What I like about the SoundBase though is that it's kind of in between, a stepping stone between one and done and traditional wired systems, since you can connect any speakers or subwoofers you want, which can then continue to be used in your future home theater as you expand and upgrade. So if SVS implemented a home theater bypass feature, it would truly be one of the most versatile products on the market, being able to connect to HDMI as a much better soundbar alternative, in my opinion, then be used as a 2-channel amp in your eventual 7.2.4 Dolby Atmos system. Wouldn't that be better for the environment too? Reusing equipment like that?
Recap.
So, in summary, the Prime Wireless Pro SoundBase is a very capable stereo integrated amplifier. I love how I'm not limited to one set of powered speakers. I can choose whatever speakers and subwoofer I want. I also appreciate its support of HDMI amongst all the other connections like Bluetooth 5.0, Wi-Fi, auxiliary, RCA inputs and outputs, so I can use it as a separate zone with my receiver. But is it perfect? Almost. But SVS are definitely heading in the right direction since I don't see any other company out there with an all-in-one product like this where I can choose speakers of my own. There are plenty of integrated amplifiers out there that are made for music and hi-fi lovers alike, but none of them support HDMI, which I like best since that means it supports CEC commands, being able to use my TV remote or Apple TV remote to adjust the volume, etc. A lot of integrated amps do offer optical inputs to connect to your TV, yes, but that means you still have to change the volume with the amp's own remote. Am I the only one who doesn't like being forced to have 2 or 3 remotes nearby at all times to navigate my way around my home theater system? I thought so. One last complaint I have is the price. At $699, it is a pretty steep price for something that doesn't come with any speakers. I know this is mostly geared towards those who already have speakers and maybe a subwoofer already in their possession. Sure, but I'd say it would be a little bit more competitive if it was more like $599. But 150 watts per channel is nothing to scoff at. That is some serious power for most. So I get why they put a $699 price tag on it with its initial launch. But if you are in the market for a much better soundbar alternative and you already have speakers you love, I highly recommend the SoundBase. The sound quality and fullness is much better than a soundbar, since you're dealing with actual speakers with reasonably sized drivers and woofers. I do appreciate its versatility in this modern age, being able to integrate it into your smart home with Alexa or Siri or Google Assistant. And it is powerful. The 5s, 80 watts per channel. The Connects, 50 watts per channel. You can power some nice bookshelves or tower speakers when you have 150 watts to play with. Know what I mean?
And there you have it.
Thank you for joining me on this review of the Prime Wireless Pro SoundBase from SVS. What has your experience been with stereo-powered speakers? Is this enticing, knowing you're not limited to one set of speakers but can choose any speakers you want? Which speakers would you pair with the SoundBase? Let's start a conversation, people. As always, please be kind to each other out there. Don't just watch TV and movies through the SoundBase, experience them. And of course, always be listening.